failed to go live. That's really helpful. Please try
This
again.
is broadcasting from my end.
No, we're good. I think we're all right. It says it's going live now.
It's
Excellent.
technology.
So it's just you and me at the moment, Roscoe. We'll see when people arrive. We'll just keep a view of who's on. I think somebody might be here, which is nice. Hello, if you are there, this is the lovely Roscoe and Lauren show. No, it's not this evening. This is the BrandSlam Warmdown. So if you are joining us, we've got some people joining us. Please say hello. Please type in your name into the chat box. And please tell us, did you come to BrandSlam? Or did you hope to come to BrandSlam and you had something else on? We had people who, I know people who had speaking gigs on at other places that day. I had people who had grandchildren being induced for babies, people doing babysitting duties for other people, people working who were hoping to come and couldn't come. So we want to know, did you come to BrandSlam? Or if you didn't, what have you heard about it maybe? So please, when you arrive in the webinar tonight, just pop your name into the chat box and say hello. Tell us if you're a BrandSlam or not. That would be fabulous. Got a couple of people in here. I can see Margarita's here and Brad is here. So please say hello in that chat box. Hopefully you can find the chat box and you can get that going. Now, I've got something weird happening in technology land at my end, but it's all going well. Roscoe, how are you this evening?
I'm fantabulous. I had a really difficult afternoon. You and I were meant to catch up at I think 4 o'clock, and that got called off, so I had a nap. It was a hard day in the office.
Make the most of it.
I've been very good, working very hard as always, but it's always good to take time to yourself and your family, as you know.
Yep, absolutely. I do plan tomorrow afternoon to be race sailing. So, yes, yeah, it has to be done. You get to a point where you just go, right, enough. I need to go and do some stuff for myself, get some fresh air or some sleep or something. So, very cool. So we've got a couple of people on. We're just going to wait a little while until people all join in, but it would be lovely to know who we're talking to. So if you are in the webinar room, and I know it says there's a couple of people in there, please type in the chat box your name, say hello. I think your name comes up anyway in the chat box. Say hello anyway. And whether you were at BrandSlam or not. And I know we've got some people on who were at BrandSlam on the weekend, so please pop in and let us know if you were there. And a little bit of feedback, what you thought of the day, what's been happening since you attended BrandSlam, and if you didn't come, what you missed the most or what you wished you'd found out about. So very cool. So let us know. Now, Roscoe, we're going to talk just for a little while about what happened at BrandSlam on the weekend. And oh, lovely Margarita here. Lauren and Roscoe couldn't be there, unfortunately, but I know you had an amazing event yourself, Margarita, which is very cool. Speaking at a different location to where you normally go, which is very nice. That was nice to hear about. Roscoe, what was your big outtake from the day? Before we start just doing a quick rundown of the day, what was your big outtake?
I think for me, the biggest takeaway or the biggest sort of thing I realized in the room, even as a speaker, was when you get the right team together, it's a lot easier to create outcomes a lot quicker. And everyone in the room I know was especially stoked that, you know, yourself and I, when we put the speaker lineup together, we meticulously figured out who was right and wrong. And I know that you and I had a list of 30 or 40 really predominant speakers, and we actually carved away a lot of the you know, we really pushed hard to make that list proper. And you know, the biggest learning for me is that was the right thing to do, to spend the time to get the lineup right, to get the team right, to get the right mentors in the room, to get the right partners, everything. It was a great team all around.
Absolutely, yeah. I know it was interesting right from the start. We had a list of people that we'd really love to have there, and most of them were there, which is really cool. Unfortunately, we had to change dates for BrandSlam originally. We had some issues with a couple of things, and the lovely Sharon Jurd was going to be one of our speakers. And unfortunately, when we changed dates, she couldn't make the follow-up date. But we replaced her with the gorgeous Yvette Adams, who was perfect, absolutely perfect. Yvette got that horrible, what do you call it, the cemetery segment right after afternoon tea, which every speaker loathes. And our headline act, you know, Yvette Adams, who's this amazing social media guru, was right at that time where everyone's falling asleep, and yet the whole room was riveted to what she was saying, making notes and really engaged. So she did an amazing job. So it was really good. So, no, loved it. So nice to see a few people here. If there's people still joining us, please say hello. Let us know whether you came to BrandSlam or not. And if you're watching the replay, you can still do that. It enables you to put little chats in. So they come through to us as emails. So, so definitely put your name in. No, it does come up with your name. You don't need to put your name in. You just need to put in whether you came to BrandSlam or not, and let us know how you're doing. So that's really cool. So Roscoe, what I thought we'd do is do a quick rundown for people who couldn't come to BrandSlam, and even some who did, just in case they wanted a little bit more from what we're going on with. And I know it's funny, I think the big takeout for me, Roscoe, was that lesson that we almost know too much, and we feel like we've got so much expertise that we have to keep sharing more and more and more advanced training or whatever. And in reality, even the basics that we have, the basic knowledge and expertise that everybody has in what they do, is more than enough for most people. And even if you repeat it 5 times, people hear it differently. And there were people in the room at BrandSlam who'd heard me speak, probably half a dozen times. And I was worried that they'd be just hearing the same thing over again. And yet they came up to me afterwards and said, wow, I really enjoyed it. I got more out of it this time than I did last time. So I
actually can say that that's true for me with your presentation, because the last time I saw, well, pieces of the presentation were similar to Gifted last year. And I was actually sitting there thinking, Lauren, like I was like, there was a lot of parts where I was like, that's some really impressive processes. And I think it's, you know, it's the old adage of who you hear it, when you hear it, and how you hear it. And it's really, it's about timing. And so most people know it's a match to, you know, work with a group of mentors, for example, when they can hear that the message is really aligned to where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah, right time, right place. Yeah. So very cool. Totally. So I think we've given everyone enough time to get on the webinar. And if you're watching the replay, please do use that chat box to say hello to us. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to share my screen. I've got a couple of slides here from the day that might just help people present to everyone, just so that everyone can see those. Now, this was the program that we had on the day. We called it the All-Star Program, and we were doing like an introductory level to that program on the day. So tonight we're going to share that with you as well, which is really cool. So our major league coaches at BrandSlam, with the fabulous Yvette Adams, who talks about social media marketing and having a great strategy and a single-minded purpose with that. The fabulous Brett Thompson, one of Australia's most amazing top-level copywriters, and his story is pretty unbelievable, actually. I can't wait to talk about him tonight. Fabulous Roscoe, who's with us tonight, who shared a lot about crowdfunding, especially crowdfunding for business, Roscoe, which is something a lot of people don't think about. They just think about it as maybe you do it for a cause, but there's some huge opportunities for businesses as well. Myself talking about personal branding, and I'll go into that in a little bit in a second. John Bellamy, who of course talked about conversations being turned into cash with LinkedIn, and we had people with some real aha moments with what he was teaching, and sitting there going, oh my God, this is so simple. Why didn't I think of this myself? And Paul, who talks about video marketing, and again, some really, really simple tips for content so that you know exactly what to get out there and do on video to get people really engaging with your brand. So very cool. So we'll talk about the All-Star Program at the end of this webinar as well. It's a 6-week intensive program, but we'll give you a bit of an overview of what the BrandSlam program was on the day, so you can get a bit of an idea about that as well. Now, very quickly, before I get into a little bit of personal branding for people, I want to just talk about how we built the All-Star Program and the BrandSlam process for the entire day, just to help you really understand there's a certain way to build a brand, and also to not overwhelm you, because so many people go to events or listen to webinars or jump on programs and they learn lots of information, but it's information overload, and they end up having analysis paralysis and not doing anything with what they learn. So this is a process that we're going to go through tonight, and also in the All-Star Program. We're going to start with personal branding, because that's the foundation. You really need to know what is it that you want to be well-known, well-paid and wanted for. What's your number one expertise thing that you want to use to really leverage your brand, to become that go-to, hit it out of the park personality that people want to do work with. So you need to get that right first before you do anything else. And then the next step after you've discovered that, and we'll go through a little bit of that tonight, is your brand image. What does your brand look like when it's out there? And we had the fabulous Michelle Fellows, who talked about your personal image, and Brad Delaney, who came in and talked about headshots, and he gave us some really cool tips, and we'll share some of those with you tonight as well on the webinar. And then using that brand image to get it to build an online presence. And Tony Bentle talked a lot about SEO and what not to do and what to do when it comes to SEO. It's become a bit of a dirty word in the industry, Roscoe. So it's really interesting to hear what Tony had to say. And Paul, those tips about online presence and video marketing. It's not that hard, video marketing, if you get it right, if you get the order right. So it's very cool. Then we talked about converting. So you've got an online presence, you've got a website, you're getting out there with a bit of marketing, your brand looks great, you've got your message really simple, but how do you convert prospects into clients? And of course, Brett talked about using conversion style writing and copywriting and stuff that really engages with people. And John talked about converting people from conversations on LinkedIn, which was really, really cool. Then we had the fabulous Francesca Moy, who talked about getting out there and getting social, building meetups and getting people to come to you. And Annette talking about getting your social media, and Yvette talking about your social media out there to the media and publicity as well. And Yvette's commentary was extraordinary. I loved listening to Yvette, and I can't wait to do more work with her because she just has, again, that really simple way of explaining the simple steps to get it right, because social media can be so overwhelming, and we just don't have time to be messing around with it. So she was great with her systems. And then, of course, you were fabulous, Roscoe, talking about legacy. What do you want to do with your brand? How can you really impact as many people as possible with crowdfunding? So we'll talk a bit more about that tonight, and you'll be able to tell people what you mean by crowdfunding and how it can work for business. So that's pretty cool. So I'd encourage everybody on the webinar to ask questions. Use that chat box as we go through. Ask questions about the program, about the process, about anything we have. Roscoe and I will do our best to drill our brains to try and remember what it was that was said on the day. I know we were both doing other things running the event as well, but we picked up some really cool action steps and tips at the same time. So please ask your questions in the chat box. If you're watching the replay, don't panic. You can ask a question in the chat box. It'll come through to us as an email. So very quickly, I want to share with you how to become an all-star in your business, in your brand, in the way that you run the marketing for your business as well. And for me, it's all about making sure that you're engaging the brain. And the human brain works on emotion. So really thinking about how you want to make people feel. Every time you go out there with some marketing, thinking about what reaction do you want from people? What emotion do you want them to feel in order to engage with you? It's really vitally important. Now, this particular brand creates all sorts of emotions in people. But he did once say, if your business is not a brand, it's a commodity. And the whole point of building a brand for yourself is about standing out and being found. Standing out as a go-to specialist that people want to work with, that people instantly recognize and say, yep, they're the sort of person I need to choose to help me with the problem that I have or to give me help or advice. So very quickly, I'm going to just share with you the 3 hours of personal branding. This is my quick tips from the day, sharing this overview with you. The 3 hours of personal branding. If you have a pen and paper handy, please write these down. This is the lovely Jeff Bezos, and he talked about reputation. He said your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So think about that too. Put the words in their mouth. What do you want people to say about you? Word of mouth is one of the most effective and efficient forms of marketing for any business, but certainly for people who sell a service. Word of mouth is absolutely vital. So really think about when somebody says, if they're looking for a wellness coach or an accountant or someone to help them with their taxes or someone to help them with training their horses or fixing their roof or whatever it is that you do, what do you want them to say about you? When they say, oh, you need to go and talk to Brad or Margarita or Anne or whoever, because what are the words you want them to use about your reputation? What do you want to have a reputation for? So really think about that. It's one of the massive 3 hours of branding. The second 3 hour of branding is recognition. Now, Richard Branson's absolutely recognised as being Mr. Yes. He's prepared to try anything once. He's said that before. So he's recognised for that. What do you want to be recognised for? To instantly be known as the person for being that particular way. With Margarita, it's about being that pit bull, not holding back, not letting people make excuses, not putting up with their BS all the time. So that's what you're recognised for. So it's important to know exactly what you want your brand to be recognised for and what you want to be recognised for. And lastly, the third hour of personal branding is respect. So the Queen once said, I have to be seen to be believed. Now, she's done some silly things that haven't earned her the greatest of respect at certain times, but royalty is respected. And it's something you need to think about. If somebody says, I really want one of the best accountants for small business who are looking to start up in the brewing industry, which accountant are you going to be, if that's what you want to be respected for, how can you position yourself as I am the number one accountant for startups in the brewing industry. Come to see me because I know exactly what to talk about and to make sure that you're not paying too much for this, that, or the other, and all the rest of your importing, exporting, and so on. So what do you want to be respected for? Choose that industry, choose your niche, and just become respected as that go-to person. So very quickly, the tools to do that. There are 3 simple steps to grow your personal brand. I'm going to run through them very quickly so you can make notes. We do cover this off in the All-Star program, and I'm going into this quite in-depth in that program, so we'll tell you more about that in a minute. But the 3 simple steps, and know me, like me, trust me. The first thing that the human brain wants to know when it comes across your brand is, do I know what it is that you do, and can that help me? You need to be really, really single-minded. And I talk about the true north. And if you have a pen and paper handy in front of you, you can draw a compass in front of you and go round that compass. Start at west, which is what? What's the problem that you solve? What's the solution that you offer? What's the outcome you deliver? What's the pain that people have that you have a solution for? All about the what. Go across to east, which is execution, which is the how. How do you supply those services? How do you provide a solution? And this is really helpful for people who think they have to explain what it is that they are by what they do. So I find in the wellness industry, a lot of people say I'm a Pilates coach, I'm a Reiki practitioner, I'm a holistic massage expert, I'm into, and you brand yourself based on your modalities. And in reality, that's just the how. It's just the execution. It's far more important to think about the what. What's the problem that you solve? What's the outcome that you deliver? The how is just part of your brand story in terms of once you get someone interested, what they're going to be going through. If you want to go to south, that's just your value. And that is the outcome. That's exactly what happens. How do you transform people's lives? Way beyond what they pay for you to give them a service. What is the ideal outcome that they have, and explaining that to them, painting the picture of what it's going to be like once they've used your services. And then last of all, go to north, which is your true north, your passion, your purpose, your reason for being. Really think about what it is that you're here for and the difference that you want to make in people's lives, and the thing that you really are passionate about, the change you want to make happen, the things in your industry maybe that annoy you and frustrate you, and the things you'd like to see change in the world. So that's a very, very quick 2-second overview of your true north. And again, I do this much more in depth in the All-Star program with people, so so look out for it in there. But west for what? What is it that you do? What problem do you solve? And Roscoe's typing these in beautifully into the chat box. I love it.
I forgot E. My brain didn't hear what east was.
E stands for execution. So it's the how. And everybody knows how they do their business. So it's really easy to fill out that side of it. It's just, that's not the way you should explain what it is that you do. And then south is value. Absolutely. It's a dollar sign. What's the outcome you deliver? And north is your passion. So just very quickly to talk about that, becoming a pro, and I will go just very briefly into south because I think a lot of service providers struggle with, what is my value? What should I be charging? Am I charging enough? Should I give away free consultations? All those sorts of things. So south's really important. I want to just quickly talk about that because it is about becoming a pro, problem resolution outcome, and really explaining to people not just what the problem is that you solve and the solution you have to offer and the way that you execute it, but what's the outcome? It's really, really vital because the brain thinks in pictures. It wants to see the outcome, and you need to paint a picture of the outcome for your prospects so that they instantly know that you're the expert and they just choose you without even thinking about it. You don't need to convince anybody. They just know you're the expert. So I'm going to give you a little exercise while you're on the webinar tonight, a bit of fun. I want you to concentrate on 2 words and just think about those. And those who came to BrandSlam will already know this, but what I'm doing is giving you a little bit of insight, of course, and it's always fun. So the 2 words I'm going to give you to concentrate on, I'm just going to blank the screen out so you can concentrate, are bacon and eggs. So really think hard about those words, bacon and eggs, and think about what it is you see in your brain. If you'd like to put in the chat box what you see, you can do that. But chances are you probably, when you're concentrating on the words bacon and eggs, you probably saw something like a plate of bacon and eggs cooked. If you're vegetarian, you might not have bacon, you might have something else. You might have the eggs scrambled, you might have them poached.
Soy bacon.
How does it look, Roscoe?
I was just saying a vegetarian might have had like soy bacon, like the
soy bacon, tofu, yeah, absolutely. Roast tomatoes, avocado. Regardless, what did I tell you? I just gave you 2 words. I gave you bacon and eggs. I didn't tell you they were cooked. I didn't tell you they were on a plate. I didn't tell you anything. Your brain made up that picture. So it's really vital that you remember that the human brain wants to see the outcome. That's the value, is the outcome that you deliver. So paint a picture of your outcome with your brand because that's what's going to turn people on to you. Next step in building a brand. Yes, I came to Brand. So Brad, he did come to Brand. Of course you did. It's lovely to have you here, Brad. I'd love to hear, Brad, if you can type into the chat box what you thought of BrandSlam. And yes, you saw breakfast. Brad's catching up like crazy on here. I know there's a bit of a delay on the live webinar. On the replay, it'll be instant, so that's cool. Brad, tell us, what was your big #1 outtake from BrandSlam? We'd love to know. What was the big #1 thing you got from BrandSlam? Please type it into the chat box. So step #2 in the Know Me, Like Me, Trust Me is, do I like the idea of working with you? So the first thing the brain wanted to know was, what is it that you do and can you help me? So paint that picture of the outcome. Second thing, do I like the idea of working with you? And this is all about your target audience. And we talked on the day about demographics, psychographics, and personal communication style. It's really vital that you paint a really clear picture of what's going on in your client's life. Where are they at in their life stage? Do they have little kids? Do they have grown-up kids? What's their life like? How busy are they? What are their concerns? What are their worries? What are their feelings and their emotions? What do they think about the problem? Who are they asking for advice from? And how do they like to be communicated with? Brad was saying it was great to listen to all the experts in one location. Very cool, Brad. What a great outtake. Yes, we didn't drag you around to 14 different workshops and webinars and all the rest of it. We kept you in one room all day and slammed you with lots of fantastic information. So great outtake. Thank you, Brad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If there's anything else, Brad, you want to share about that BrandSlam program, please pop it into the comments in the chat box. And I know you're already in the All-Star program, which is starting very, very soon. So can't wait to work with you. So carrying on, think about your target audience. Really be clear about what it is that you want to, the sort of person you want to be working with. It's all about liking the people that you're working with. And step 3 is trust me. So after the human brain has said, yes, I know what it is that you do and it can help me. I like the idea of working with you. The last thing for personal branding is, can I trust you're going to deliver on what you promise? It really is about understanding that the human brain is thinking all the time about all sorts of different things, and it has got bright, shiny objectitis, as have you. So bright, shiny objectitis is the difficulty you need to overcome, because if you don't overcome bright, shiny objectitis in your business, you will end up with FOMO, and you'll end up trying to be everything to everyone, and it just makes it really hard to get your marketing right. And you'll end up doing waft-dam marketing, which everybody knows who came to BrandSlam is a waste of flipping time and money. And that's what we want to help you avoid. That's the whole idea of BrandSlam. The whole day was to try and help you avoid waft-dam marketing. We want to stop you wasting any more time and money on stuff that doesn't work. We want you to get 100% clear on your brand and how to market your brand to become that major league player in business. And I'm going to be talking in the program coming up, the All-Star program, about your elevator pitch. Sharing with you exactly how to explain to somebody when they ask you that dreaded question, hello, what do you do? To know exactly what to say to answer that question. So I'll be doing that. I'll be going through the formula. I'm not going to do it tonight because we don't have time. I'm going to quickly leave this here. You can always replay this webinar and write those down just to make sure that you understand that formula. But that's what I'm going to be sharing in the All-Star program. So those were my 3 steps: know me, like me, trust me, being an expert. And we'll leave that to talk about that later on, the All-Star program that we've got. And we'll run through the people who are at BrandSlam, Roscoe. Would you like to perhaps talk about the person who came up after me? And if anyone has any questions about what I've just been talking about very quickly, please type it in the chat box. But we had, after me, Roscoe, we had the fabulous Michelle Fellows, who talked about brand image.
Yeah, Michelle was talking actually all about everyone's colours, which was quite interesting. Sorry about my 18-month-old in the background. He wants to be a speaker. Yeah, she was talking about colours, and she did a great demonstration up on stage. She pulled someone up, and I think she's going to be sharing some tools inside the training as well. I think there's a download or something that she's putting in the All-Star program. But she brought someone up and put the colour swatches around them and just showed how when you wear different colours, it takes the attention away from your face or puts it back on there. And it was actually really interesting. I noticed throughout the day, I must have seen about 10 different guys go and sit down and get their colours done, which was quite interesting for me. I thought that they were really into it, and it makes sense. You know, when you got a personal brand, you don't want it unless you're on the red carpet and your dress is the big amazing thing that's got to be the center of attention. You actually don't want your clothing to take away from your professional image. So it was really good to have that sort of stated. And then I think we went on from there to Paul.
We did, absolutely. Paul was brilliant. He was fantastic.
Yeah, Paul did a really cool matrix that I know he's going to dive into inside the All-Star program too, which was he did a matrix of how you can grab one different video content idea and turn it into 6 different ones. So basically, you know, he drew some columns and just super brief. He drew some columns and he basically said, you know, his topic was film. So he could talk about people filming with an iPhone, and he could do how-to video on that. He could do the problems with that. He could do, and basically had these 6 different ways you could flip the content. But then he had it in this matrix chart that made it just be able to map out like 20 pieces of content in like 2 minutes. So it was a brilliant tool for anyone who's in business that needs to content market, which video is great for.
It was very cool. And I know, just going backwards very quickly, I did speak to Michelle about what she was going to be sharing in the All-Star program. And we talked about one of the biggest other concerns to do with your image and your personal brand in terms of your personal image was there was the colours, and she's going to talk a little bit about that in one of the downloads she has, but it was also the style and the body shape, so that you can be, and I know it was funny, you seem to find a colour or a shape or a style that suits you, and you keep trying different things, but in reality you're better off just to stick with what really suits you. So she's going to talk a lot about your shape and your style as well, which is very cool. I'm just looking in some bits and pieces I've got here for the All-Star program for that matrix from Paul, because I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And it made so many people just don't, I mean, the biggest currency on the planet right at the moment, Roscoe, is time, isn't it? Just no one has any time. So he talked about, I'll just run through them, his hot buttons for this matrix. So you've got one topic, say for example, I don't know, maybe with someone doing wellness, it's about trying to lose weight, for example. So let's go with that topic. You run a wellness service that helps people lose weight and get healthy again. So the hot buttons you could use for building 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos out of one topic. You could have a rant. So you could talk about all the skinny models, or how there's a rant about how it's all about eating fat-free food, or you could have an absolute rant about something on a video about that particular topic about losing weight. You could do a Q&A. You could do a, how come I can't lose weight? Why is it harder when you're older? How do I lose baby weight? You could do all sorts of Q&As around how to lose weight. Then you could do how-tos with the other thing that's on the quadrant. How to start losing weight, how to get up in the morning and make sure that you're not going to eat too, I don't know what it is. I don't do weight loss, but do you know what I mean? We could do lots of how-tos. So there's having a rant, questions and answers, how-tos. Winner loser, which I thought was really cool. So here's an example of someone who's won, and here's an example of someone who's lost. Here's something that is an absolute brilliant thing you can do, and here's something that won't work, which is really cool. I like playing off those two against each other, and they're like before and afters, which is very cool. The next hot button you could think about was a story, a lesson, or an offer. So what's someone's story? Maybe it's your personal story. Maybe it's a lesson that you could teach someone about weight loss in a video very quickly. Next hot button was mistakes. What are some of the biggest mistakes somebody makes when they're trying to lose weight? It might be that they go on a huge diet and they stop eating and it just completely destroys their metabolism. So what's the mistakes people make? And the last hot button in that quadrant that he has, that matrix, is show and tell. So maybe there's a video you could do in the kitchen with a cool recipe. So there's just 6 really cool videos about weight loss for one person who does wellness, a rant, a Q&A, a how-to, winner or loser, story, lesson or offer, mistakes, and show and tell. So that's a quick overview of those. They're really cool, aren't they, Roscoe? How quick is that?
Yeah. I mean, you could use that. You can use that in so many different formats. I mean, obviously that was shared in the version of video too, and you could do that in blogs and all sorts of different things. So yeah, it was brilliant. I know Paul's going to be sharing inside the All-Star program a little bit more of the technical aspects too. So like, there's a bunch of people that are doing great things on video right now, and you know, Facebook video is blowing up, and you know, YouTube and Snapchat and vertical video versus horizontal video. So Paul's going to be going through the technical aspects and really simplifying it for us so that we can get the most traction and the most conversions from our content.
Cool. I don't know, one of the big things I asked him on the day was the power of the subtitle, and how that's just, I know you've been talking a bit online as well on social media, Roscoe, about just how amazing subtitles can be for your videos. Very, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So who did we have last, Paul? We had fabulous Tony Benton.
Tony, yeah.
And he talked about, because Tony's an SEO specialist and he helps getting your website so that it loads nice and quick and all that sort of stuff, which is very cool. Roscoe will take me off so it can switch between us, which is cool. Then you can have a break from being on the screen all the time. Pick your nose, feel free to have a drink, whatever. So yeah, Tony was great. And the interesting thing about Tony was he talked about how it's almost embarrassing these days to call yourself an SEO expert because there's so many people out there who do. And he gave some real key insight as to what to ask to make sure that if you do get SEO and you get someone helping you, you're actually getting what you're paying for and knowing what to look for. And Tony on the day actually offered a complimentary website audit, which I think he'll be offering in the All-Star program as well. So if you missed out on that, you can get in the All-Star program and he'll be able to go and look at your website and do an audit and send you back the report so you can know exactly what's going on your website and what needs to be improved for SEO. But he talked a lot about making sure that it was a website that people wanted to stay on, so that when they landed on your website, it actually engaged with you. And he gave lots and lots of tips about that. So can you remember anything else about what Tony shared on the day at all?
Yeah, there was one thing that specifically that really stuck with me and struck a chord was Tony's business partner, who's built, SEO components for, the likes of, Google and Holden and big name brands that we all know. Anyway, the big secret or big takeaway that they had is that they do SEO where they do it once. It's not like some sort of monthly recurring or monthly ongoing thing. If it's done right, you don't need to do it over and over again. And so that was actually a huge takeaway for me because that had been something that I'd always suspected but never sort of been able to put my finger on. So that was awesome information, and they just know their stuff.
It's cool, isn't it? And then I've had the same sneaking suspicion about SEO for a long time. And surely once you've got it right, it's done. You don't have to go back and redo it again. And yes, there might be keywords you can work on and stuff like that, but it enables you, as Tony was saying, to concentrate on the content. Just get really good content, engaging content onto your website, which is really cool. So let's talk now very quickly about the fabulous Brett, because I just love Brett. His presentation is so good. I mean, he's one of Australia's top copywriters. He is just such a genius, and yet he talks all the time about how he's just a normal guy. He doesn't have these superpowers. He's just a normal guy, but he stumbled across copywriting, absolutely fell across it. But he's just done something really simple with it. So give us your outtake, Roscoe, about Brett's presentation.
I think, it's always hard for a copywriter to share in just 40 minutes exactly what the craft is, because the average sales letter, can take weeks for a gifted copywriter. So, Brett shared a lot of great stories, but one of the things I love about what Brett's up to is the resources that he's actually sharing in the All-Star program. I know there's hours on hours and pages on pages of resources, and the craft of copywriting is not something that can happen quickly. Brett's been actually personally coaching me through a bit of copy I'm writing for something else that I'm working on, and the man is a genius. I've probably spent 20 odd hours on this piece of copy over the past month, and he just comes in and he can tell you one word or he can just replace, 3 words and it changes the entire context of a sentence. He's an absolute genius. And, he's sold over $27 million or something worth of products and services just using words on paper, which I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a total savant as far as I'm concerned. And for him to be there he was there the whole day. Lineker was there as well. It was just wonderful to spend time with them. We were in the dugout there catching up. We had to whisper because we were right next to everybody. But I can't wait to be on the webinar in the 6-week program with Brett, because copywriting is one of those things that we all struggle with if you're not a natural copywriter. One of the key things he mentioned that he always does, and I loved it, was just use your own language. People seem to think they've got to write in a different style to the way that they speak. And you're often, one of the things I would think that Brett was talking about is just record yourself and transcribe it, because it needs to flow. It needs to be more of a conversation. So, but I've made notes because I love writing. I've got lots of books I've written and blogs and articles and things, but I'm not particularly good at headlines, so I'm always wanting to know better from Brett as well. So he talked about, people talk about making articles, especially blog posts, make them interesting, keep people involved with them, give them tips, that sort of stuff, and at the end always have a call to action. Well, that's a bit sort of ho-hum. He used the words, shock, So don't just start with interest, start with shock. How can you shock people? Because let's face it, we are so busy and so disrupted, you need to have something shocking as a headline. So shock people. And then fascinate them. Don't just interest them in what you're talking about. Make it absolutely fascinating. Tell a story that makes them go, oh my goodness, you know, I've got to read the rest of this. I'm fascinated by it. And then make them obsess about it. Not just to the point where they're interested now in reading the rest of it, but they're obsessive. They can't put it down. They have to finish your blog before they leave the page. So make it obsessive. And then always action. Always action, action, action at the end. How do you do something about it? So very, very cool. I love those words that are shocking people, fascinating them, and get them to obsess about your next blog post coming out. They can't wait to see the next one. So that's really cool.
I think he was saying action got replaced with engagement, which was, you know, he still obviously wanted action within that, but just to have that deep connection with your audience is superbly important.
Yeah, absolutely. And as he does, sharing his story, telling people, not just, I mean, we see lots of stuff on social media about how great people's lives are. Let's share just the normality of it all. Let's be honest. Let's just share a story that really helped us and it'll engage with other people. I really enjoyed that. It was fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
We talked about, also, yeah, telling a story. I'm just looking at my notes on my phone. I was madly typing it in, which was very cool. So, so that was great. So after Brett, we had a bit of lunch with the VIPs. And then after lunch, we came back and we had the lovely Francesca Moy came and talked to us about getting a tribe, building a tribe and meetup mastery. So I know Francesca really is the master of the meetup, and meetup's a fantastic way, obviously, to go and meet other people. But the key thing I got out of it was we just, again, don't have time to go and do a lot of networking. And networking is fantastic for business. It's one of the major things we should be out there doing. But if you're spending all your time going to other people's meetups and meeting the same people and that sort of stuff, you're probably not growing your tribe. Whereas her thing was start your own, build your own meetup, start your own tribe, get people to come along and make it something that's really interesting for people. Don't set up a meetup so that people can come along and straight away sell your services or sell your program. Make it a meetup that's really interesting, that attracts like-minded people who want to be there, who want to have fun.
Taking people to a party, right?
Yeah, throw a party.
Yeah, throw a party. That was her advice. And I think more people go to parties now than go to workshops or seminars. So there's some gold inside of that. There's some real wisdom inside of that.
Absolutely, and it's interesting. You're quite right, Roscoe. I was asking the other day about a Melbourne Cup function across the road at one of the local places that's just opened. And this is their second Melbourne Cup since they opened. The first one was like only a couple of weeks after they opened. So this is their first real, proper Melbourne Cup. They're charging $97 for 4 hours, and they are full. They will have close to 200 people there.
That's great.
To have a party, yeah? Whereas we ran a whole day BrandSlam.
So hold on, I've got a workshop on the exact same day as Melbourne Cup, and I've got 6 people.
You can pay $99 for 4 hours, yourself totally wasted, but it'll be a lot of fun, and they max it. And we've got a workshop on the same day that people can come along to and do amazing things for their business and their life, and you've got 6 people.
Yeah.
So that's just the state of the world.
They paid a little more than $97, but they're 6.
Yeah. But but that's life. So Francesca is totally onto it. You've got to make a party.
Margarita is too.
Margarita's awesome too. This was a party with margaritas in the room. So, but anyway, Francesca was fantastic. And then after her, and she's going to offer us lots of fabulous, because the big question at the end of her presentation, she only had 10 minutes. We really did. She struggled to fit that into 10 minutes, and it was really hard for all of us to try and do that in the time we had. But of course, people asked, okay, once you've built your meetup, how do you get people to come? How do you fill events? And she's going to be sharing those tips in the All-Star program, which is very cool. So after that, we had John Bellamy, who's your brother from another mother, isn't he?
Yeah, he pretty much is. I think you accused us of being an old married couple last time you saw us.
Certainly a gay. That's just the way it is.
Gay couple, both with children. Not technically. Just so we're clear. John is actually extremely concise man. One of the things I love about him is there's no one I know that loves having conversations to turn people into customers. And one of the things that he's relentless with is identifying and finding how you can get those conversations through LinkedIn. So I know that he shared a lot, including he shared one of Brett's mentors' copywriting formula for a way to write blog posts on LinkedIn, and it was to essentially tell a story and then segue and then sell your call to action. So story, segue, sell, which is a great sort of format again for blog writing or a pulse post on LinkedIn. But yeah, essentially he was really talking about, taking the sorts of things that we'd learned earlier in the day from even people like yourself, Lauren, like how do we position ourselves? How do we introduce ourselves as a networking function? And then using that plain English on platforms like LinkedIn to generate conversations and qualified conversations as that, which John's able to get about. But I mean, he does my LinkedIn process for me. His company Direct Messaging does it as a service for me. And I get about 8 to 15 calls a week with really highly qualified customers. And I do nothing. It's all on autopilot because it follows a procedure that he's going to be sharing with everyone in the All-Star program. So it is a simple process, but it works really well.
Absolutely. I think I saw the most aha moments during John's presentation.
There was literally a lady who had been sitting on the fence about being in the All-Star program ran to the back of the room at the end of his presentation.
Absolutely. So, and it was interesting. Even just the basics of just setting up your homepage on LinkedIn, getting the content in the order, and as you say, doing that story, segue, sell, just making it all make sense on there, and using problems as keywords and that sort of stuff. People were just going, "Oh my God, that's so simple. Why hadn't I thought of that?" And that's why it's so cool to have a major league coach like John, who just knows the stuff and he knows it inside out, to be able to say, look, just do this. It's really simple. It doesn't have to be difficult. It just has to be done. And getting you to do it. So very cool. Loved it. And I can't wait for his presentation in the All-Star program, because while I was running the event, was trying to make notes, and I'm going, I need to know more about this. I'll be watching his presentation with ears really, ready for it. So it's going to be very cool.
It's a great process. It's a brilliant process.
Yep, love it. And after him, we had the fabulous Brad, who is a specialist headshot photographer. And he told us about the turkey, getting ladies' nets, how to be photogenic at any time, was to make sure that you had your head. I didn't do it in front of you. I have to do it sideways. You do the.
Wasn't it the turtleneck? Did you just call it the turkey?
Well, we've been calling it the turkey. I don't know what is it. Turtle, is it? Well, anyway,
because your head goes back in.
Oh, is that, okay, radio. So fair enough. Maybe turkeys' heads might go back in as well. Who knows? I don't even tell though. So anyway, so turkey neck, so you don't get the chins. Finding your side, and Roscoe, what side do you part your hair on?
This side.
I think you're parting on the other side, isn't it?
Oh yeah, maybe. Sorry, I don't know how that works. Yeah, so the other side.
So on the side that your hair naturally parts, that is your good side, because you're trying, just for whatever reason, psychologically, to cover this side up or allow for the fact that it's not quite balanced. So whatever side you part on, that's your best side. So you have my best side at the moment. So if someone jumps in front of you at the next networking event and goes, selfie with their phone, just do that and you'll be fine. You'll look great on the photograph.
I think it's the right side.
Yeah. So Brad was great. I mean, he stepped up and came to that event at very short notice and offered some amazing tips. And he's going to give us some more fantastic tips in the All-Star program as well, to do with just getting a headshot right. So what to ask for when you go and get headshots done, how to prepare, how to make sure you get what you want, and how to use them on certain social medias and things. So very cool. And of course, after that, once you've got your headshot for LinkedIn and all the rest of it, you need to get out there. You've built your brand to the point where now I need to go social. I need to get it out there. And the fabulous Yvette Adams stepped up. And I knew Yvette from a long time ago when I was working at Saatchi. She was working at a recording studio called Marmalade. And we used to go down there a lot. She was always the crazy girl in the corner who did the amazing stuff. And so we knew each other from way back when. And I can't wait to hear her again in the All-Star program. She had so much. And she was probably the only presenter, in fact, she was the only presenter, who tailored her presentation around baseball. So she took us around all the bases. Getting to first base, just sexual connotations here, but get to first base and do this bit. Then second base is this, and so on. She went all the way around, and by the end of it, everyone was like, "Oh my God, that's such a simple process."
Yep.
Can you remember some of the things from her presentation, Roscoe?
I think hers was really about choosing your platform. You wouldn't be on LinkedIn if you were selling, fake tan to teenage girls. It would be the wrong platform. So just really choosing your platform to make sure you're in, I guess, condensed waters with your ideal prospects. The other thing that she shared was, that there's really there's a whole lot more opportunity than just customers online. And Yvette's brilliant at getting awards and sponsorship and all these different other types of things that I think a lot of people leave a lot of the opportunity on the table when it comes to social media because they simply are looking just to get customers or cash out of it. And one of the things I loved about what she was talking about is that it really put a lot of deposits into the bank of goodwill with her clients, but also simultaneously just added credibility. And I know that, she was talking about even getting awards on products and all sorts of different things. And I know that you've worked with her on stuff like that too, Lauren, so you probably know more about that. But it was a brilliant take on it. I found it very valuable. Absolutely.
And the interesting thing about Yvette is everything she does on social media is about building your online presence. So what do you want to be known as, which is what we started with. She's all about, okay, how do you do that? And she had a quadrant again on what sort of content to share that sets you up as becoming known as the leader in your field. You're at the front of the play, what's going on. People are looking to you and for your blog posts and so on because they're seeing you on social media as announcing news, as sharing top information that only experts know. So she was really cool with that. The other thing I really liked was she talked about business manager reports. And I didn't know about those. And I've got a business manager set up for my pages. And I went, oh my God, so there's even more. So the nicest thing about, and she talked a lot about Facebook, because Facebook, why wouldn't you not go on Facebook? Everybody's on there. About the fact that Facebook freely gives you so much data. Years ago, we used to have to pay for market research and surveys and all sorts of things. Now you just go into the back end of Facebook, into the business manager reports. You can find out what time of day your people are on, which one of your posts they're reading, which ones they're sharing, what day of the week is best to post, what other things they're liking, not even what you're posting, other things that they're liking. And you can use that to make sure you're being really effective with your marketing on Facebook. She talked about BuzzSumo to get content from and always using images. She said never ever post unless you're using an image. So make sure you've got a good image library of stuff. You can just grab something at last minute or create your own memes. And 80-word posts. 80 words. That's it, max. 80 words in your post, perfect. And just read more or see more and go and find the blog post or lead them to a website or a landing page. So 80-word posts and always use images. I love those tips. They were very, very cool. So after Yvette, and if anyone's got any questions about that, please pop them in the chat on the webinar now and in the replay. After that, we had the lovely Annette Dencham. So this was perfect timing to talk about finding your story and connecting it to the media. So Roscoe, what was your outtake from Annette's fabulous presentation? I loved it.
I think the big takeaway that a lot of people will probably get from the publicity genie Annette is that it just doesn't need to be perfect. And even her presentation on the day was drawn on the back of some pieces of paper, and it was really fun and engaging to have, kind of not the stress of it having to be polished so much. And I think that, I kind of didn't listen to the lessons because I was kind of soaking in that lesson so much. But I think, the beautiful thing that I loved about Annette is that it's just execute. It doesn't matter how polished you are, how ready you think you are, just start.
Yep, absolutely. So for those who weren't there, she basically stood up with a pile of A4 pieces of paper, all hand-drawn, and you see that often on Facebook or whatever, you might see someone who just drops it and you see the next one. That's exactly what she was doing. And there was paper all over the floor. Brad, you were there. Please tell us what you thought about Annette Densham's presentation about the media. For me, and I've heard Annette speak before, and what I really love about Annette is the media is a really tricky beast, and they speak in a completely different language to everybody else. And they operate on like 30-second and 30-minute deadlines, and they have these little slots in their day, and you've got to catch them at the right time, and you've got to catch them with the right story, and all those sorts of things. But as you say, Roscoe, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. And if you wait and hold back and go, oh, but I don't think I've got a good enough story or whatever else, the message she really gave across was, don't just be authentic. Find the stuff that you are passionate about. Find the people that you're passionate about. Talk about the outcomes, what it was you delivered to people, and make it something that is really going to just connect with the right media. Find your channel and away you go. Brad says she showed that the simple approach can be effective. Absolutely. That was the big takeaway from all of us. Well done, Annette. You did such a great presentation. No slides, no perfection, no fabulous, fireworks and stuff. It was just really good content delivered very, very simply. And I can't wait to hear her in the All-Star program as well. She's going to have some fantastic stuff for us. And then, Roscoe, you were last on the bill. You were heading, and I know you were chomping at the bit to get up there and share with people.
What made you think that?
Oh, absolutely. Can't hold you down. So what really interested me, Roscoe, was even when we were putting this together, I was really struggling to go, what the hell has crowdfunding got to do with branding and marketing? Isn't that about causes and raising money for people in Africa and all this? You have this preconception about crowdfunding. Of course it's not the case. And it's funnily enough, Roscoe, on the very weekend we had BrandSlam on, my husband pointed out to me a story he'd read just that very same day we had BrandSlam about how a company that made cheesecakes in New Zealand did a crowdfunding campaign, and now they're selling, I think it's 50% more cheesecake than they were before they started with the crowdfunding campaign. So just that quickly, it can happen. So give us a wee overview, Roscoe. The floor is yours. Tell us about crowdfunding for business.
Well, presently, and I'm not saying this to impress you, but it's just the facts. There's $71 million US per day raised presently on crowdfunding, and it's increasing at a rapid rate. It's actually
71 million. Is that right? 71 million?
Yes, $71 million US per day.
Wow.
And it's almost double what it was this time last year. So it's on a very steep incline, and crowdfunding's only been around for about 7 years. So people are still finding all sorts of applications for it. And of that 71 million, as far as I can find in the research that I've done on, there's many crowdfunding campaigns that I can get my hand on. I think about 60 to 70%, and that's an approximate, and it's a guess based on what I've looked at, is actually business startup. Is the most of it. When people sell a product that's a really clear reward, or a service that they've packaged up really neatly, they're the campaigns that seem to do really, really, really exceptionally well. We've got huge success stories within reach of us. Like just down the road in Byron Bay, a couple of guys put together a project where they raised $17.5 million, and they launched a business building honey hives called Flow Hive, where they can just turn the tap on and off and get honey. So there is literally, there's that side of it. And then here's the flip side, and here's why it's important that when people join the All-Star program, that they really learn how to go through the process so they don't make, one of the 5 or 6 top mistakes, which I don't have time to share them right now, but I will share this, that 9 out of 10 campaigns will fail to raise even 30% of their target. And that's because they make simple decisions. And one of actually the biggest decisions, and this is in all marketing campaigns, this isn't just crowdfunding, is that the people who had a team of either mentors or people on their crowdfunding team raised double the amount that people who went it alone. So trying to do crowdfunding or grow a business or do marketing or anything like that, it always helps to surround yourself with the right team. So that's super important. And I can't stress that enough. But yeah, it's actually a simple process to crowdfund. When I say simple, it's easy to do, but there is a fair bit of work to put into it, depending on who your team is. But I'm going to simplify that as much as I can for everyone inside the All-Star program. And really, the beautiful thing about crowdfunding and why it fits in actually really neatly to the rest of the program is that it brings it all together. You can practice all the skills from you know, the things you're teaching Lauren on how to position themselves, to the copywriting, to the video, to the PR, to the, you know, putting on an event and filling the room, and the SEO. You can test all of those skills in just 4 to 6 weeks for a crowdfunding campaign that's out there online. So it's a beautiful way to you know, publicly, you know, prove your product or service. And here's one really good tip, and I'll leave you with this and then we'll move on. But if you're going to do a crowdfunding campaign and you think you can raise about 10 grand, my suggestion to you is that you make your public goal about 5, and then you go hell for leather and you make sure you still raise 10 grand anyway. Because what that does is publicly it says that you've sold out like at least 2 times over, and you know, you had 200% success, not 100%. And I think this is really important that people use it as a PR tool as much as they use it to raise funds. The funds are really secondary to the proof of concept and the credibility that it gives you, your product and your service.
And it's funny, Roscoe, that was my big takeout of the whole presentation that you had around crowdfunding, because I was so interested to learn how it fitted in the business. And the key thing for me that you outlined was that, yes, it seems easy, and there's so many different platforms out there that you can use to do it, but there's a definite process. It's like everything with marketing, isn't it? If you slap anything out there and just put it out and there you go, it's done, it's just not set and forget. But I love the process that you walk people through, and that was my key outtake from it as well, was if you set X goal and you don't reach it, it's going to be really hard to reach it. If you set X goal and you smash it, and this is the thing I love from a neurobranding point of view, it fits in really well because the brain loves success. It loves success stories. It loves to be part of a successful project. So the minute you can say, look, even if you got to 90%, even if you didn't get to 100%, people are going, wow, it's got 90% of its budget, of it's raised 90% of what it wants. This has got to be going. People are onto it. So I love that point of it from neurobranding. It's such a great way to get people involved in what you're doing to build a business.
Yeah, and totally. They feel like they've co-created it. They really do feel like they've got ownership over the journey. You know, they feel like they were in the room when, you know, the iPhone was launched. They kind of have that same sort of bonding experience. It's quite beautiful. Yeah,
and it's like almost getting your own handcrafted, branded thing at the end of it. I was part of that, and having it's so cool. It's so cool. It's such a great idea. So I love that, and I loved all of the speakers. Margarita's just posted on here, wow, so many experts. Great information. How does it all come together? Thank you, Margarita. There's the segue that we wanted. Fabulous. So what I'll do, I will just quickly flick back to sharing my screen.
Margarita gets some extra bonuses.
Absolutely true. Now I'll just present to everyone. I'll go back to that slide. Let me just kill a few things that are on my screen, because on here, I'll just quickly go through it very, very quickly. In the All-Star program, we start out with personal branding. So this is the first training that we do over the 6-week period. So first it starts with me talking about personal branding, and I go through that core message with you, your true north, and get that right, so you know what it is you want to be well known, well paid and wanted for. Then we talk about brand image, and we have the fabulous Michelle, and we have Brad giving us some fabulous information, and we also talk about your online presence. We have the fabulous Paul Holland talking about video marketing and getting that up and going and running. I've just got it in front of me as well. So the first one starts, it's a 6-week program. Michelle, Paul and video marketing, talking about action steps as well. Then the next week after that, because it's a 6-week program, we talk about conversion, and we get Tony talking, he's going to give us some information, or he may even be on the webinar, I think, talking about SEO and website content tips. Brett talking about client rush, getting that conversion right with fantastic content, and the key simple steps to get your content right, and to just get your copywriting and the simple things he can share with you. And he's got some amazing downloads. I've just been looking at what he's been sending through to go into the members area today. Just unbelievable cheat sheets that he has, Roscoe, that go into there. Like I said, just huge amounts of information that you can use. Now with the 6-week program, and remember, it's a 6-week program and training, but you get access to it for 12 months. So you can always go back and find that resource. If you're writing some content for a landing page, or you're writing for a webinar or for a blog post, you can go back in, have a look at that tutorial again, read through the cheat sheets. You get 12 months access, so it's all there for you, and you can download that information. Then we have Yvette Adams on in the penultimate week, the 5th week. I'm talking about social media, and Brad potentially going to share with us some stuff about headshots there as well. And then, of course, Roscoe, you're finishing up with that final week, pulling it all together. Annette's going to share with us some media and PR tips, but you're going to be giving us those simple steps and that process to use crowdfunding to really maximize your business impact and grow really, really fast. So that program's pretty extraordinary. Roscoe, would you like to add anything while I've got this slide on there?
No, I mean, just essentially that, you know, the container is that we deliver it in 6 weekly webinars, and there'll be downloads to go with each of those webinars, and also a members area where you can log in and get access to all of the bonuses and downloads. Essentially, the idea is that you use this 6 weeks right now, this side of 2016, to really get yourself prepped for your marketing strategy and your complete action plan for next year, and use this whole process to really hone in on what your strategy is. Obviously, there's going to be things you can implement straight away as well, but the idea is that you know, you use bits and pieces of all of the strategy to really create one major, highly polished and very clean and clear, simple way for you to convert more customers in the next 12 months.
Yep, absolutely. And it's interesting, Roscoe, this is the way we delivered the presentation live. And one of the biggest positive feedbacks I had from people who came was how it made it so simple for them to absorb the information, learn the action steps, and mark down, this is what I'm going to do with it.
Yeah,
so
and also that it wasn't overwhelming because it was relevant and stacked on top of each other. It actually made sense in that order. Absolutely,
and the process was there. So yes, I'm expecting in the All-Star program over those 6 weeks that you'll get the training on the Wednesday, and over those each week in the 6 weeks, and in between you'll be able to implement what you've learned and get really quick results and see the return on investment of your time. That it's already starting to build. So by the time you get to the end of the 6 weeks, everything's already starting to get up and running, and then you can just go back in over the next 12 months and refine and redeliver and really get some clarity about what you're doing so that you avoid wasting any more time and money, but more importantly, you stand out. You become that all-star player, that major league player in your industry, and people start coming to you and saying, wow, I need to work with you. You look like the expert. You look like someone I need to talk to. I'm seeing you everywhere. I love your message. I just need to work with you.
Yeah.
Very cool. So the program, it makes you that all-star to reach the top of your game. This is the amazing people that we have on it. We have all of our fabulous major league coaches that you've heard about tonight, and our partners as well. The total value of this package is over $5,900. And just for the purposes of launching the BrandSlam All-Star program, it's just $997. So less than $1,000, or 4 payments of $297. And what I'm going to do, Roscoe, while you explain that slide, I'm going to just put an offer up on the page, display the offer, so that if you're interested, you can click on the button and go straight to that page and check it out.
Yeah, I just want to clarify too that it says today only on the slide, and the people who were at the event did get some extra bonuses, and we do have a couple extra bonuses that we should chat about as well, Lauren, for that paid in full price still. But we're going to take people, for those watching the replay, we are going to take people up until, I believe it's Tuesday next week. What date is that closing, Lauren?
Yeah, that's correct. It's 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 25th, because we start on the 26th. 5
p.m. Tuesday the 25th of October 2016, if you're watching this in the year 2036. Anyway.
No, we're doing this live. It's going to happen. So the interesting thing is as well, Roscoe, we only have 12 slots available. So we're not making it huge. We want to really work with people one-to-one and give you plenty of value. In the weekly webinars that we run, it'll be similar to this. There's a chat box. We can actually open it up so that you can speak and give us feedback at the time as well. We want to keep it down to a limited number. We already have 5 people in the program, so there's only 7 slots left. And it's the time to get into it so that you can get prepared for next year. It was really interesting. I asked the question, you know, when you started this year, did you say to yourself, this is going to be my best year ever? Has it been? Has it really been you playing at the top of your game? Have you really moved forward? Because in 6 weeks in the All-Star program, you can get so much momentum to build up so that by the time January hits in 2017, you're already off and racing. You're already playing at the top of your game and people are going, wow, where did you come from? I've never seen you before like this. This is amazing.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things you can implement then and there, but then beyond that, you know, you're working with a number of people that are all extremely great at their craft essentially, and you get the opportunity to, you know, I kind of feel like if you watch the same thing over and over again, if you just press replay 6 weeks on 6 weeks on 6 weeks constantly, you'd be able to milk it for more and more results.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's cool that you get access to the members area. So it's not just a once off and then it's gone. We're recording everything. We're putting it into the program so you can rewatch it when you want to, as Roscoe says. Go back, use the cheat sheets. So you won't be left on your own. You won't be stranded. We're going to give you that whole program for the year as well. And Brad, if you're on the webinar right now, I'd love to know, you've already joined the All-Star program. We'll be sending out program logins and everything in the next couple of days. But Brad, what are you most looking forward to in the All-Star program? Who are you most looking forward to learning from? What's the thing you really want to get out of it? I'd love to know. And if you've got any questions, anyone who's on the webinar at the moment, if you've got any questions about, I know Margarita's been asking fabulous questions, thank you. Hopefully we've answered those for you. But if you've got any questions about the All-Star program, please ask. Even in the replay, you can send us an email via the chat box. Or if you have a question, you can email Roscoe and myself and send us through your questions about the program so that we can make sure that you get your questions answered. Margarita's saying, so is there support in the members area if you get stuck? Absolutely, Margarita. Roscoe and I are hosting the entire program. We'll be on the webinars, making sure that everybody's here and is getting everything they can and getting the replays and so on. There's a help button there. There's support buttons. There's all sorts of fabulous background information so you can get hold of us if you need to. Plus, if you find that you really need more help, we're more than happy at the end of that 6-week program to put you in touch with those all-star major league coaches who can help you even further. So very cool. Now, Brad's saying it was timely, fabulous, as he's keen to develop his personal brand. So timing is everything, isn't it, Brad? Timing is everything. So the biggest thing I think that with this All-Star program, Roscoe, is it amazes me the quality of the people that we have in the program, and that in just 6 weeks you will get so much amazing content, not overwhelm, action steps that you can implement straight away. And so, Brad, yes, if you're ready and you're sitting there going, I'm sick of playing in the minor leagues, I'm sick of speaking at events where there's 3 people, I'm sick of putting out articles and blog posts and no one reads them, I'm sick of doing videos and getting on video live on Facebook and no one jumps on with me, I'm just sick and tired of playing in the minor leagues, I'm ready, the time is right for me to play at the top of my game, then 6 weeks is all it's going to take for you to get there. So that's the big thing for me, Roscoe. The big outtake for this program is the quality of what you get. And I can't believe it's only $997. I just can't believe it.
I can't believe we haven't mentioned the bonuses.
They're amazing, those. And you'll know that when you go, if you click on that button, the offer is up on the page. You should be able to see it. If you click on that, check it out now, you'll get taken straight to the BrandSlam All-Star Program page. It will give you a lot more information about what you're going to get in the 6-week program and the exclusive resources and some of those bonuses. So, and those bonuses include things like if you're local here in Southeast Queensland, Roscoe's got an amazing offer for some co-working space. Tell us about that, Roscoe.
Actually, four of the people in the lineup, including myself, so Brett, Paul, myself, and John all work from a co-working space just south of the Gold Coast in Tweed Heads. And so if you pay in full for the $997, you actually get access to work there for 2 months. So if you've got any of those questions or anything like that, you know, obviously not when we're in the middle of meetings and stuff, but when we bump into each other in the co-working space, you can definitely some questions. And so that alone is is an
Gold.
offer that's worth, well, it's worth
gold.
60%. It's worth at least 60% of the actual price too, and that's just a complimentary bonus if you're paying full. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
great value.
I can just imagine the conversations you'd even just have in the kitchen, and the brainstorming that you'd do, and the amazing ideas you'd come up with people as you bump into them in the hallway.
I think there's definitely light bulbs that go off there, but it's also just fun. You know, like it's good to get out.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad says he's looking forward to working with all the major league coaches. We can't wait to work with you, Brad. It'll be so much fun and so much amazing learning that's going to happen. And we can't wait to see what your brand does in that short period of time. I'm offering something very special for everybody who joins the All-Star program and pays the $997 up front. Unfortunately, not for the subscription, but definitely if you're paying up front in one go, you get access to the award-winning Authority Rocket program, which is something which the award-winning part of it is it's won a Neuro Branding Award. It won an International Stevie Award for Neuro Branding for Business to Business. So that program only went live this June, and it's a 3-part program: Brand Magnet, Launchpad, and Rocket Fuel. And it goes through, again, the in-depth steps so you can answer that question, what is it that you do, and engage and connect with people, build your profile so that people instantly know what it is you do, they respect you, they recognize you, and they want to work with you. And the main outcome from that program is that, again, you're going to get access to it for 12 months. You can go back and watch all the tutorials. You can go through those processes, use all the cheat sheets and worksheets that are in there. And the Authority Rocket program is just valued at almost $2,000. And you're going to get it as part of the All-Star program. So it's the fastest way for you to figure out your single-minded purpose, your personal brand, to know what it is that you want to be well-known, well-paid and wanted for, and how to naturally attract all the right prospects who you're going to love working with. So that's a very cool program, and if you sign up for $997, you get that as well. So very, very cool. Can't wait to see you in there as well. So looking forward to seeing Brad. If you're thinking about joining the program and you've got more questions, click on the check it out now. Go and check out that page. Put a note into the chat box. Ask us questions. Get in touch with Roscoe or myself. As I say, if you're watching the replay, that'll come through to us as an email, and we can't wait to answer your email and to be here for you. So please let us know. Roscoe, is there anything else you want to share? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can say hurrah to everybody. Thank you so much for being on the webinar. We've talked enough, I think. I
think just if anyone's, if anyone's still keen to do it and they just want to make sure that it's a good fit for them, in the chat box, just throw in your name and phone number on the replay, and either Lauren or I can jump on the phone with you and just have a quick chat and just see how it may or may not be a fit for you, and we'll tell you straight. We know it's of great value to the right people, and the right people are typically the people who are willing to and open to learn, and the people who are not a good fit for BrandSlam, I think, ultimately the people who are happy with the way things are. If you're content with the way business is moving along, then probably not a good time to come into BrandSlam, because we'll intentionally try to change it up.
Absolutely, and push you out of comfort zone. And you're right, this isn't for everybody. Brad said it, the timing's got to be right. But if you're ready to play at the top of your game, then seriously, I can't see anything else out there like that. And a lot of the testimonials I've got back, I've got a handful of testimonials from the day, and a lot of people saying, they just have never seen anything like it before. Normally they go to one webinar or seminar with somebody, they get lots of information and they walk out of it completely overwhelmed. I know Michelle said she'd highly recommend it to all business owners and people thinking of starting a business even. Her confidence levels and what it is she does have soared, and she's so pumped and ready to go. That's what she said about being at BrandSlam, which is very cool. Brian said that each presentation relates to the others. They flow on from each other, and it's so relevant to growing your business. A talented group of marketers, said Marta, recommend them to any small business who are looking for marketing knowledge and modern technical tools. Julie said it was amazing, so powerful, all the info and the team to take your business off the ground and rocket into the sky, amazing connections and so on. So you're going to get to connect with other people in the All-Star program as well, so very cool. So thank you very much for watching. The the BrandSlam Warmdown webinar that we've held tonight. Thank you, Roscoe, for being here with me. I've enjoyed it again. And thank you to all the people who came to BrandSlam, people who've watched the webinars, and also to all the amazing speakers and event partners. We couldn't have done it without you. You guys are amazing, and we look forward to seeing more of you in the All-Star program. So we'll sign off. Do ask us questions if you need to know more. We're here to help, and we can't wait to see you next time. Thanks, Roscoe.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everyone.
Now I'm going to figure out how to stop it. Here we go. I'm still live.
I'll do the Queen wave while you do that.
The Queen wave while I figure that out. I've got something that says end call. Are you sure you want to end it? Yes, I want to end it. Call has ended. That's right. Interesting, isn't it? So, post publicity. I have no idea what this is all talking about. This is so different to me. Failed
Still
to go
live on my end.
Still live on yours. Thanks, guys, from Brad. That's very cool. So, no, I might just have to hang up, actually. The only way to stop it is to hang up, so I'll say goodbye.
I'll say goodbye to you now, Lauren.
Goodbye from me. Goodbye from him. Ready?
See yous. Bye.